Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the All Systems Go podcast. I am your host, Chris L. Davis. And listen, everyone, I feel like I'm cheating in life sometimes because you all are about to be part of a conversation that happens all the time. Um, when it comes to talking shop, with respect to automation, that is all about tools. We share client stories as well, but there's always this ongoing, ever growing, never ending conversation around software. And I get to talk with some of the best minds in the space internationally around the world, all in the community, come together. So for this episode, I'm doing that with one of my most tenured and most experienced certified partners. And we're going to talk about membership software. I should say membership slash community. For some of you, that's synonymous. And I want to use this episode to really talk about the options that you have at your disposal when it comes to making the decision of whether or not I want to do a membership, and if I do a membership, do I need a community capabilities along with it. So today we have back on the podcast the best certified partner that I could think of. I've been talking, we've been talking tech for years, and it is Samantha. Samantha Porter Fox is back on the podcast. And for those of you who are new and are like, oh wow, what does she do? Let me read a quick bio, and then we're gonna dive right into some of the most prominent membership and community software and just have an open conversation and invite you all to listen in. All right. So Samantha Pointer Fox is a certified automation service provider and owner of Samantha Pointer Enterprises and the founder of Sam's Tech Academy. She helps small business owners and CEOs who need marketing systems automated but don't want to touch the tech or do it themselves. Stop touching tech, everybody. You don't have to. You really don't. Okay. Her From Audit to Automation service connects strategic planning, process documentation, technology, automation implementation, and data to help to help organizations optimize and grow. I can vouch firsthand. I've sent many people Samantha's way. They've all come back satisfied, and I am excited to talk about this topic with you today. Samantha, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Glad to be back and talking tech. That's my jam there.
Yes, yes. So everybody, I'm gonna give you some insight. I'm a bit off right now. And the reason being is because this is what happens. Before we recorded this, Samantha mentioned a piece of hardware technology that she has upgraded to that I felt immediately was greater than my hardware technology that I most recently upgraded to. So everybody, I went off and was researching. I said, Chris, focus, come back into where we are, present day. So the tech talk never stops. So Samantha, um, membership software, community software. First, tell me your first experience with a membership site. What do you remember what that software was?
Wow, I'm probably gonna date myself.
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah. So my first being inside of a membership
Yep.
site was at least 20 years ago, and it was like PB Networks. I
Mm.
think it was like some proprietary. It reminded me of the Yahoo uh, clubs that uh, yeah, yahoo.com.
Yep. Yep.
It reminded me of that, but it was very barbaric. Like it was
Yeah.
just like you had a thread. Everybody talked through thread, there was no, and you could share a file. That was about it. There was no
Mm.
video, no audio, none of that. So that was like my first time being in a membership software with the organization I was with. Um, And like I said, that was over 20 years ago. And every
Yeah.
you got updates. There was no, of course, there was no apps or anything like that. So you got updates via email that hey, somebody said something, then you'd had to log back in to their to respond. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And mine was I actually believe my first membership site was Jeff Walker's product launch formula. I didn't
Mm,
even know what membership sites were before then. And you know, you log in and it was kind of like a forum and they used it to connect people. And then I don't know how we were connecting after that. I think maybe Skype or some other way
mhm.
because Zoom wasn't around.
Yeah, probably Skype.
Um, right. And then I just started purchasing more and more Brendan Bouchard stuff and everything. And everybody was using like Kajabi. At the
Mhm,
time was I didn't even know what Kajabi was or some platform. So and then I got experience with Wishlist Member. I think it was like
mhm.
a guy who was selling graphics. So he would upload them to Wishlist Member, and you would log in and get all of these new graphics. So I've had experience. That's like my intro into membership sites. What would you say now? Because what I want to do is I talk about membership sites, talk about community, then talk about them together. But what have you seen from then to now as some of the major progressions in membership site software that many business owners should know about or are leveraging effectively now?
Mainly being able to connect mobilely, like on the go. So it
Yeah.
needs to have an app that you can get in that isn't Facebook or social media driven. Um,
Yeah.
that's the main thing, and also the ability to like you know share files, videos, go live inside of it.
Yeah.
And what you could do on social media, I've seen a progression now of them giving those, putting that in membership things where you can actually go live inside of your membership platform now. So
Yeah.
that's the progression I've seen most, because you people are on the go, and I shouldn't have to sit at my desk to get the information I need. People
Yeah.
traveling again, we're not stuck in the house, so yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll add to it. I think some of the top progression I've seen is the ability to integrate with your CRM
Yeah,
software. Like
yeah,
that came out of nowhere. It wasn't something I was thinking about. Like it wasn't on my radar. Like one day they'll integrate with CRM software, but then you started seeing, like you go from wish list, and then I had some experience with Member Mouse, and these are all kind of like roll up digital access pass.
right,
In fact, now that I'm saying this, I've actually built membership sites with practically all of these, trying to find my way and figure out
right.
like what does my membership
WordPress.
offering, look like.
Mhm.
And I found, digital access pass was probably one that I wanted to work so bad because I like the people behind it, but never really got it in place. But
Mhm.
this is all like plan, like your silver, gold, bronze, and that set access to everything. And
Right.
then I can't remember what year it was, but Infusionsoft was the one that led the way. It was like iMember 360. It was the
Mhm.
first time where they could take a tag and then integrate whatever tags you have with access to your website, which I believe for marketers opened up a whole new world of possibilities.
Yes.
Hmm. So you take that membership functionality, and then we had social media come and blow up, right?
Yes.
Social media, everybody now is on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever the case may be. So now there's this community aspect. And
Right.
let me not forsake forums. I think forums
Forms
predated,
were yep, yep.
right?
AOL, Yahoo.
Yes, forums was like the way that you interacted online. This was
Yep.
before blogs. Everybody, there was a day and time where the internet was without blogs and you did not have comments. There was no way to comment on an article. Believe it or not, the web,
Mhm.
the World Wide Web used to look like that. So these forums were like next level. It was like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I can communicate with other people.
All text.
Um, yeah, right. All text based, right? Every now and then, maybe you could enter a. This was
Hunt
back
for
when
your
we had
topic.
bitmaps, you
Yep.
know. So these are things that have evolved over time, right? And then you come into the social age where it really just kind of reinforced and introduced the power of community.
Yes.
Facebook went from pages to groups, and now everybody's like, "Oh, I want to have my own community." And then
Hmm.
you started seeing software pop up. I think
Yes,
Ning was
I was
like,
a part of a Ning. I think that was one of the first ones to challenge Facebook.
yes, right. And that's important. We'll talk about that later. But you now have software that is focused on community. And like one of the top ones right now is Circle. There's a lot of internet marketing influencers that use it, and it's been used in a lot of varieties. I know you're familiar with Circle.
Mhm.
What is Circle for those of us those of the listeners that don't know? And then what are some other kind of like Circle-esque software you've seen out there?
So Circle is basically just a standalone
Mm-hmm.
uh, software or app that you can set up. Um, Set up a group. It has paid. You can do a paid membership or
Yeah.
free. You invite people to it. They download the app, or they can access it through a browser. And really, it's like a simplified. I mean, it reminds me of Facebook groups without all the noise, basically.
Mm,
So you can have topics on the side. It's real organized. You can organize by topics. You can have different like spaces inside of it and delegate people to different spaces. So it's like levels of membership, whether it's free or paid. They also have like a learning management system built in. So if you want to
mm-hmm.
offer courses through there, they have that built in too. So it's really just been evolving. I'm in a few circle spaces, and what I like is I can toggle between all the different provider spaces I'm in without leaving and having to log in with something different. Like
Yeah.
so that I love the convenience of it. Um, some other community software out there is like Heartbeat. Like I was telling you before, I'm in a mastermind book club, and they're using Heartbeat, and it's an app, and you just it reminds me of Circle and its organization, but it's
Mm,
really clean interface. And then there's you get notifications, somebody says something, you get a digest if you have that setting on, to your email. If you're not in there, it has video capability. And just from a user standpoint, I like it's really clean, and I don't have to go hunt for the information I'm looking for.
yeah.
uh, and then there's Mighty Networks, which I was part of your group with that. There's another client I have who has Mighty Networks. So, um, again, different spaces, everything's organized. You can use tags to, find your topic, I guess hashtags. That's what they look
Mm-hmm.
like to find your topics and to talk, and there's an app. So,
Yep.
which is again important to me, being on the go, I need to be able to access it. So yeah, those are some of the um, community software that I've had experience with.
Yeah, and I'll say to see circles kind of rise or their takeover of the space
Yeah.
has been interesting because you can always tell the leader by who follows, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Circle was the first main software, and perhaps they borrowed it from some other platform. But I don't know of any other platform that was more prominent than them that had that left sidebar where you could
Right.
organize everything,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so sticky that Mighty Networks later, I mean, years later, it took them a while to figure it out like, oh, this is how people want
Mhm.
your community to look. So then they shifted their whole interface, I think earlier this year, over to that sidebar navigation look and feel, which I think added a lot of value to Mighty Networks. So
Yeah.
everybody, I've got extensive experience with Mighty Networks. I've used it. I may or may not still be using it at the time of you listening to this, and I've also referred like enterprise clients to them. So
Mhm.
there's a few things. Let me get on my Mighty Networks rant for a second. So first off, remember everybody, we talked about Ning. Ning was like the first social network outside of Facebook. The founder, Gina, I'm gonna butcher her last name, so I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. But Gina B, she is the founder of Mighty Networks. So she took all of that experience and built Mighty Networks. Here's my issue. I think Mighty Networks is created for those who want a beautiful visual experience for their audience and are
Mhm.
very low in technical capabilities and expectations. I think
Mhm.
Mighty Networks matches that group of people just fine. And it's because it's more like a closed off system. It's
Mhm.
hard to get data out of there. It doesn't play
Or
well with anything external. It doesn't embed things besides their list of dedicated apps. So they don't have like a HTML embed where you can kind of put anything in there. So as a advanced marketer, one would say, well, Chris, why did you use them? Well, look, everybody, at the time I made the choice, Circle wasn't around. There was
right.
no other community software, right?
Mhm.
So here comes Circle, and everybody, I'm telling on all everybody in my community, I'm telling on all the members because most of them are using Circle, and they're
Yeah.
always talking about these features and how you can track progress and what people are looking at, send it over to Airtable, and do just
Yes.
the land of the wonderful for an automation professional. So I end up drooling over what they can do, and then I come back to look at Mighty Networks, and they're just like, hmm. you know,
But you did this.
yes. And no matter how many times I've like told them about, hey, look at these features Circle's doing this and that, they just have no interest in really unlocking that software to be geared towards marketers. So when we
Mhm.
talk about community software, everyone, you really have to, if you're in that decision making process of like, oh, which one should I pick? You have to really think about if you need it for marketing purposes or not. If you
Right.
need it for marketing purposes, I think all roads primarily point to Circle
Mhm.
because of how they built it. They built it with marketers in mind. If you want something beautiful, clean, simple, there's other solutions, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
Heartbeat. Samantha just showed me Heartbeat. Looks super clean, and it looks very neat, very on brand, easily,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Mhm.
could upload your logo and be like, "Yep, it matches my website."
Right.
And probably has a more simple interface and functionality. But we have these two now coexisting, Samantha, membership and community, and it's a big overlap because, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, Circle's got some membership functionality, so does Mighty Networks. And the one that we haven't really talked about is a WordPress based software.
Right.
So there's
Right.
all kind of forum software out there for WordPress. I don't want to get into that, but Buddy Boss or Buddy Boss platform, I don't know what they're calling themselves nowadays, but they've been very aggressive. They're probably the most aggressive in the WordPress space. If you're looking to do a WordPress website and have that freedom of control and everything else,
Mhm.
Buddy Boss is the only software that I've seen that plug in to do that. And Samantha, have you? I've never joined. The crazy thing is, I've never joined, bought anything that was delivered on Buddy Boss. Have
Me
you?
either. No. And I was just thinking, I was like, for the people who like were mired, who have WordPress, I think there was like Optimize Press was another one
Mm-hmm. Yep.
uh,
Yep.
that I used and
I did too.
was
Now that you
part
say
of and
that,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. But then again, you needed something that wasn't you was tied to a specific platform that needed to work, whether I was on my own WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, whatever,
Yep. Yep.
So that plays a part into it also. But I have not been a part of a buddy or gotten anything from that. And yeah.
Yeah, that's what's interesting to me because I'm actually intrigued and I want to know how that experience is, right?
Hmm.
There's a couple things with it being in WordPress that just come to mind naturally is that you're gonna have to have some SMTP plugin so that you can send email reminders, right?
Yep.
So that's a thing. I tried this. Oh my gosh, wait a minute, everybody! I tried this when I first launched my membership site. What I wanted, this is back when I had the mentorship program, Samantha. You may
Yeah.
remember this.
Yep.
I had forums in
Hmm.
the actual
Yep.
website, and I was using BB Press.
Yeah.
And if you aren't familiar with BB Press, everybody, it's like the most vanilla, stale software. It looks like Windows 95 when you install it. So it requires a bunch of CSS to make
Yes.
it look good. And back then, mentions didn't work, so you couldn't add anybody. The notifications were a little funky. So I tried it, everybody. It just didn't work well. But from what I see with Buddy Boss, they've got like a nice skin over that BB Press, and it looks more functional. It looks like it. I just have never, as much as the company seems to be growing,
Hmm.
I've never interacted or known somebody who's actually using. Actually, I know one person that's might still be using it. I'd have to
Mm,
check in on the business, but other than that, I don't know. I don't. I just
yeah.
I've seen way more Circle and Mighty Network communities in the
Mhm.
wild than
Yep.
WordPress based Buddy Boss. So
And
um,
it's all about that CRM connection. People are trying to own their own data now. So, uh,
yes,
and
yeah,
it's in once it was taken away from social media, you getting information, you had to go to other platforms where you're one to one. You know,
yep,
to get information and to know what your people want and not have to pay for them to even see the stuff that they came there to get.
yep, yep. And one thing that's helped me over time choosing between this software is it really depends on how you want your members to engage,
Right.
right? Because we also have what is it? Karanda uses it.
Oh, yes. Member Vault.
Member Vault. There it is. There it is. Member Vault, which gives you a. It's interesting because there's actually more that I'm thinking. My good friend Natalie Lucier, she's got Access Alley,
Yep, that's
Ally. I
another.
should Alley, Access Ally. So how do you navigate the space, everyone? So what I've learned in my experience is that it really depends on how you want people to engage. So like Member Vault, a lot of membership sites now are more so resource focused.
Right.
You go in and it's well organized for resources that you want access to.
Right.
And then the community part comes in if you want to actually offer peer-to-peer engagement,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But the two do not have to coexist.
No.
And this is one of the things that I've literally been doing with the Automation Bridge community is saying, well, wait a minute. I've got peer to peer, which I think is extremely valuable, but I also
Mhm.
have all of these resources. And I think for my business case, it became a bit detrimental trying to put it all in one.
Right.
I
Right.
was trying to make Mighty Networks do everything. It was like, okay,
Right.
here's the office hours replays and links to this, and that.
And
And
it
it's
gets
not,
overwhelming.
oh, it's just not built for it. They
Right.
want you to use it like that. They're like, look, you can charge for plans and give access, but it's all janky on the back end compared to marketing software.
Right.
So I even had to make that decision to say, you know what? I want to have a membership experience where you can quickly and easily access well organized resources, take courses,
Right.
all of that. and then add on the community.
Exactly.
And if you want to engage, you can, but you can still get value from the membership by just getting the ongoing populate. I mean, we upload stuff weekly, so there's
Right.
always new content. So it if it helps as we're talking about this, everyone, you really need to get clear on, do I need community or do I need membership? And the third one would be, do I want forum? Right? Because
Right.
forum is right in the middle between
Middle.
community and membership, right? Is
Mhm.
forum, it's still personal, but not as openly communal like community software, like Circle
Right.
and all of that. So there's options out there. I had a friend who was trying to do a Facebook group, Samantha.
Mm.
And I asked about her audience, and it was like wealthy people, like millionaires and all of that. And
Mhm.
I said, stupid question. Are wealthy people on Facebook? Right? Like, I'm just wondering. I don't know. I'm not yet that wealthy person. And she paused and she was like, actually, you know what? They're not. And I was like, it feels like they would be at like exclusive clubs, traveling.
Mhm.
It just feels like they would have their own network. You know,
They're not even at LinkedIn groups,
you get
which
what I'm
they're
saying?
on LinkedIn, but I had LinkedIn groups too, and zero engagement.
Right?
Like nobody's logging into that.
Yes, it seems very
They're
that
meeting in
audience.
person. They're meeting, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And when I said that, she was like, you know what, you're right. I meet a lot of them at coffee shops.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, I know somebody told you to start a Facebook group because that's just
Right.
common speak now. Hey, you should start a Facebook group and da 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 da. Right?
Mhm.
I said, but not only do I think they're not on there, but I also don't think that other people want to be included with other people when we
Right.
talk about like
Telling
wealth.
their business. They don't want
Right?
to know that they're struggling.
You get what I'm saying? So you have that consideration, and now you look, you're not looking for community software. You're
Mm-mm.
looking for a membership site where a person can log in and have their individual experience, and it's
Mhm.
not connected to anybody else seeing what they're doing.
Right. Right.
So I think this is such a good conversation to have because I don't think people are taking the time to
To
compartmentalize
think
the
about that.
two and understand how to use it. Now we flip it and look at Kay PC. She's been on the podcast a few times. She's one of our power partners and good friends. She's got an active campaign on a community.
Mhm.
You definitely want people to engage and meet and share. That's a whole different use case there, you
Mhm.
know? So I think those are important things. And then when you factor in connecting to the CRM, I mean,
Mm.
that's a whole nother level. Let me share with you all right now. You cannot do it with Mighty Networks. Don't try. It's not even worth trying to hire a developer. Just leave. Just migrate to another platform. You can do it with Circle. You can
Yeah.
do it with Access Ally as well because it's WordPress based. But
Mhm.
those are the few that I know of, community software off the top of my head. Oh, Member Vault. I don't know if I would
Oh,
consider that community more than membership, software.
it's more membership
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
than community. I was even thinking about Thinkific.
Hmm.
They added a community piece, which basically looks like
Yes.
a forum.
Looks like a forum, right?
Yeah.
Kajabi did the same thing.
Mhm.
It looks like a
Yeah.
forum.
Yeah. So, hmm.
So
But
it's
what
interesting.
about like Discord and Slack?
Ooh.
You know,
Okay.
I've seen a more uptick in Discord, when I've joined different things. They was like,
Yep.
okay, join the group on Discord,
Yes.
which
Yes.
again is very busy and fly by the seat of your pants. It's
Yes.
not as organized to me as, some of these other like Circle and stuff where it's more organized topics. You're really just dropped in on conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. Business owners are hijacking Discord, right?
Hmm.
Like it was meant for gamers, connect with Twitch and all of that, have a server to
Yeah.
talk to your viewers or the people who watch
Mhm.
your game streams. And business owners came in there, and I believe it started with like stock stock market folks, because they
Oh,
would
okay.
have these Discord channels and share their trades and all of that. And I think it
Mhm,
just caught on because there were certain stipulations around like stocks and those types of businesses on Facebook and
mhm,
even on some of these other platforms. Whereas I guess Discord didn't have those restrictions. What I'll
mhm.
say is this: Discord continues to confuse me. My brain, as
Yeah,
much as I love Slack, like
yeah,
I use Slack every day.
me too.
I just it's
I understand
similar.
that. I can follow that.
I can
Discord is like
it's just so
fusion.
I
Like,
don't
it's
and
too much. Like,
I can't put my finger on why, Samantha. I'm in a mastermind that uses it, so I have to learn it. And I've
mhm.
been in this process of learning it for about a year now. And I don't know if it's just we have too many channels and they're not organized enough, or if Discord is just a confusing platform for those of us who are over the age of 28.
Yeah.
Right? Like 30 and up, we used to using software, a certain type of software that just may be out of our generation and just causing us to shift and really adapt. But the promise is this: it's got a tech side to it that I think has strong implications for marketing. I
Mhm,
met with a young man who was like creating Discord bots, and these
mhm.
bots, based on what people would do, it would actually be able to go out and like send data out of Discord and do some other things. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. I would
Yeah,
like to know more about that, you
right.
know. So I think bots in Discord are something that to if you can dive in and learn. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, Chris, I need to show you what these bots do. Oh, let me show you how my Discord. We've got a new email address specifically for the podcast: holler at
Mhm.
automationbridge.com. So that's HOLLER at automationbridge.com.
I was
Send
like,
us an
spell
email.
it
Right? They're like, what was that? Collar? No, holler. HOLLER at automationbridge.com, and send me some use cases. If you're using any of this software, by the way, and you're like, oh, this is how I'm using it, I we love collecting use cases and
Yes.
seeing it helps us better recommend software when we know how other people are using it or have used it. But
Mhm.
I'm really looking forward to learning more about Discord, because you have Midjourney
Yeah,
on there, and
yeah.
how you can use that to
I
create.
kinda followed that. Um,
You know,
I'm trying to think of the community I just joined. I think it might have been an affiliate community, and they're like, "This is our Discord channel. Hop on in there."
yep, yep.
Think about it, but yeah.
I've seen tech companies starting to use it too. So
Mhm,
I joined it was an AI podcasting software free account, and then it was like join us on Discord, and I
mm,
joined the Discord. And what I did like about it is they had different areas that you could talk to different people on the team. So you could talk to the product
mm,
team, you could talk to the devs and all of that. I
mhm.
actually felt like that was, if the software was good, I would have kept using it, but it wasn't, so I don't
Right.
use it anymore. But for the limited time that I was in there, I felt like I got responses from like the
Right.
developers. So if that's the
Well,
case,
yeah.
I'm
They're
all
hanging
for it.
out in there.
Yes, yes. So that brings us to actually like SaaS company communities, right? I think
Mhm.
by default, a lot of them are on Facebook groups,
Yeah.
just to let
Yeah.
people come in.
And then a
And
few on Slack now.
okay, so you've
Couple
seen a few on Slack.
Mhm. Even, like, yeah. Yeah, it's like they're moving over to Slack. I
Mm,
know Keep has started like a Slack channel, you know, for their partners because they're like, maybe let's talk more in here for the people who don't like Facebook or whatever. So I think
yeah.
you're seeing more people run communities in tandem in two different places, but sharing the same thing. Because I know Kay did that for a long time. Her Facebook group and her circle matched. So until she made
Mm,
the transition fully. So
yep.
you might see a lot of that now too.
Yeah, I've actually seen a few. This is the thing. I feel like I've seen communities in all software except Buddy Boss. And I'm not trying to talk down on Buddy Boss. It's just I feel like they market to me so much. I use their
Mm-hmm.
theme on one of my websites. I actually use their theme and like it, but I just have never experienced from a user perspective somebody using it. But Slack is interesting because I love it and it makes sense to me in a business use case where we're collaborating throughout the day. And I've joined a few Slack channels that were like you mentioned, like Keep and all of these other.
Campaign and
Yeah. Active Campaign has one as well. So I actually like it. It doesn't necessarily give me the community feel more than like a
discussion forum.
yes,
Yeah.
like discussion and question Q&A type.
Or
S-
customer service, even.
Yep, yep. So you do have that as an option. I know there's quite a few people that have used Slack that have gone away from it, and I think primarily because of the pricing structure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you're
Mm-hmm.
literally paying for every member, and as that
Yeah.
membership grows, you're paying for a seat. Again, you're abusing the software.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, Slack is not community software, but what
No.
we will do is use it as
It's
such.
communication software.
Communication software. That's it, right? Community software, communication software. That's a great differentiator. And I'll say this. I'll say this, Samantha. Um, I'm also seeing a trend more niche specific where
Mm-hmm.
they'll release software and inside of that software there's some community aspects which are usually
Mm-hmm.
like groups. I think groups are just the updated way of saying forums,
Yes. Yes.
right? Like I think it's
Exactly.
like boy, young man. It's like it's
Mm-hmm.
technically the same thing,
Thing.
but one
Yeah.
just sounds a little more mature and distinguished, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that we owe some respect paid to forum software that has paved the way for like these
Yes.
threads that are now called groups and you can have conversations within them. But my wife's trainer, shout out to Brandon McAfee, he has a nice app. I forget the name of it, but he's got an app and it has all of your fitness stuff in there, but then it has groups that you can join
Mm-hmm.
groups about certain topics. If you're trying to build muscle, lose weight, do this. So
Yep.
now without being on Facebook and it's mobile friendly, I can get
Mm-hmm.
access to the trainer, ask questions, do all of these things. So it's like it does have a very community feel, because you can add
Yeah.
pictures. I think when you start adding pictures and videos and all of that from users
Mm.
that other users can view, by default,
Right.
that makes it community by default,
I think
you
you
know.
see that a lot in fitness, in the fitness world and fitness, because that's community based. Like you want other people to cheer you on and you cheer them on and everything. So a lot of different apps I've had has that community feature, has the video feature, has the on demand feature that connects to the
Yeah.
YouTube channel, the alerts.
Yeah. Yeah, I say this, everybody, we talked about integrating with your CRM. I am I hold no shame and no secret with the software that I use and love to do that. Is called WP Fusion. There's others like I said, Access Ally, Memberium, Active Member 360. I actually support all of them. If somebody came to me and was like, "Hey, I'm using Memberium," I wouldn't be like, "Ugh, yuck, what's that?" Right? Like, it's all good software. They all just do the same thing in a different way. And
Hmm.
I'll say this: one of the things that I like about WP Fusion, which I think is so forward thinking, in the vein of connecting your membership and potentially your community software with your website, is that it can pull data to populate fields and push it to your CRM from your
Hmm.
website, right? So when I have, let's say, my membership site is on my WordPress. is powered by WordPress. And let's say
Mhm.
somebody fills out a form, a gravity form, or a any type of form to give me information. I don't have to use Zapier. I don't have to use anything. I can
Mhm.
pass that. I can have it sync immediately once it's captured. It goes into my CRM system, and I think that that is not talked about enough because that's
No,
power
it
there.
is.
It's some true power. Yes. So I think that um, I don't know if I would ever be able to have a membership site that doesn't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I just can't see it.
I mean, because data is important. That helps you to make the decisions in your business.
You need it.
So,
Yes, you
and
need it.
to know what to provide next, you know?
And what to provide next. And I look at, like the Kajabis and the Thinkific, I think you mentioned. I think even Teachable is adding like this
Yep.
community feature. And on the surface level, and in some business use cases, I do think that it's just enough. But
Yeah.
as a marketer, I would just like to know when the last time you logged in,
Right.
what was the last thing
You
last
watch.
thread you visited?
How far did you get
How
in?
far did you get? Right? Like I have mine set up with WP Fusion that by default, I don't have to do anything extra. Whenever a video is uploaded to the website and
Hmm.
someone watches it, it informs my CRM. Hey, they
Hmm.
started. And when they finish, guess what? It informs my CRM as an event. They
Yep.
started and they finished. Am I using any of this data? I'm not using all of it. I'm using some of it. But Samantha, how many times have you had a client come up to you and you've asked them, "Hey, have you been collecting this data?" And they're like, "No, should I
Nope.
have?"
Right. It's like,
Right?
yeah.
So I would rather the data be there waiting for me to discover a use case for it than
Hmm.
discover a use case and not have the data,
Habit.
you know.
Exactly.
So these are, listen, everybody, we're just talking shop here. These are important considerations for you all to be aware of when you're out here selecting software,
Yes.
especially when it comes to membership sites, community, and that space in between forums. Uh,
Hmm.
have you seen out in the wild a standalone forum? I feel like they're always coupled with a membership or a community software.
Um, that PB Networks one, which is
Mm-hmm.
basically a forum, it is standalone. And I'm thinking about this affiliate. I can't think of the name of it, but it
Mm-hmm.
was for affiliates, but it was standalone.
Hmm.
And it was a forum. So you could,
Hmm.
talk amongst yourself, but I can't think of the name of it. But other than that, I don't not nothing big name that you see a lot of. I can't think of anything off the top of my head like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that there's what is it called? Bulletin, something bulletin.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then I know there's Zenforo and there's software out there, but when I go to the websites, they don't do a real good job of like showcasing who's
No,
using it. Like I can't get a list of
because
forums
it's
that
like it's probably used in internal, specifically
mm-hmm.
to a type of, I don't know, business category.
Right.
The general businesses aren't just looking for that alone. So,
Yep. Yep. So I I have a forums hold a special place in my heart. I still am like I'm still pro forums. I just don't see a lot of people use them isolated, right? Like to themselves. I joined a membership group and they have more of like a resource membership site. But
okay.
they did have it. I think it's IP board. I think
Oh yeah,
IP
yeah.
board is what it's called.
Hmm.
They have it integrated with IP board and it's like single sign on. So once you sign into WordPress, you're also signed into that. And that's
Mm,
like their community. And
right.
it's techie. It's techie. So I feel like that fits. I don't feel like that would fit perhaps in a more visual.
Right.
industry, right? Like they're
Yeah.
gonna want to put pictures in a feed and like stuff and share. So it's just
That's
interesting.
important.
Yeah.
Visual, how it looks is important.
Yep. Yep. So in a day and age where people are trying to figure out, do I need to be on social media? Is this my best opportunity to reach? I've always been of the mindset that you need to create your own platform and own it.
Yes.
So whatever that looks like, hopefully some software that we've mentioned today has helped, like, oh, wait a minute, let me look into that. Or perhaps you are looking at, should I use Mighty Networks or Circle as a marketer? And I just answered your question because Mighty Networks is not marketing focused,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Maybe
Mhm.
you were looking at starting a membership site when you're realizing, like, oh, wait a minute, I want my people to see each other and communicate. So now
Right.
you need to go community first. So
Mhm.
so these are just, again, this is an open conversation and an ongoing conversation. On
Yes.
office hours next week, we'll probably have something new to bring to the
I
table. There's
know.
always new players emerging,
Mhm.
but I feel really confident in the current stack that I have and some of the technology that has been used. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing if there's a marketing use case for Discord bots.
Mhm.
I pretty much have Slack where it needs to be.
Right.
There's always room for a disruptor, somebody to come out and say, hey, look, you can do all of this that you can do here, here, here. And we add this for marketers, right? Like you always
Mhm.
have that. I feel like these conversations, if you're in like a finance industry or interior decorating like my wife, I think these are a lot easier to create. I
Yeah.
think, like, you look at Heartbeat, what interior designer wouldn't love how beautiful that looks,
Yeah.
right? And then I'm thinking, if my
Pretty.
CPA had a Slack channel, would I engage with that to get answers about like my taxes and things of that nature?
Mhm.
Or would I want to be in a more Facebook group where we're all learning together? I don't think so. I think I would want more of a dedicated communication channel to just say, hey, can I write this off?
Mhm.
Right
Mhm.
now from their end, they may be like, we always get these questions, we want everybody to see them. So perhaps you have like a communication channel, and then you have a team that creates like a FAQ or most answered questions, or whatever, and that's somewhere else. Like there's ways around
Tell
it.
you a use case for Slack as far
Hmm.
as if you're a service provider, having each client have their own channel where you and your team can communicate. You don't necessarily
Yeah.
have to invite the client to that, but you and the team are communicating about
Yeah.
that particular client. That way it
Yeah.
doesn't get lost in a bigger channel or whatever.
I agree. I agree. I like that use case, and it would kind of mirror the project management space. If you
Yes,
have a
yeah.
client-facing project management space, and no more emails back and forth, you
Right.
can be
Yes.
very asynchronous and make sure that
Mhm.
things get moved forward. That's a simple one, Samantha, but I think that's real powerful.
Yeah.
Right. That may have been worth the price of listening today. Is setting up that Slack channel for internal purposes to
Mhm.
collaborate, and communicate. Because what we talked about was membership sites, community sites, communication, membership software, communication software,
Software.
and
Yeah.
forum software. You All four of these, you just need to know, you should, or at least now you're aware, right? Like,
Mhm.
which ones should I be thinking about?
Don't just get it because somebody said you got to do it. Uh, you
Please
know,
don't. Please don't.
your business might not need a group. Your business might not need a community.
Yes. I mean, and we all
Have
learn.
business owners like really are the is the business owner all day we talking and chatting it up? No, we're working.
Yep. Yep.
So
Now
think
that you
about
say that, I wanna share a unsuccess story, and that was I created that exact thing that you mentioned on Slack. I ended
it.
up creating it in Mighty Networks for a
Mhm.
client. And I created this space and say, hey, you can log in here, and you could watch things and keep track of what we're doing. It was kind of like a community project management space. And
Mhm.
I tell you, the person maybe logged in 2 times.
Yeah.
Paid full price for the service, logged in
Mm,
a couple times, and I'm not the type that's just like, oh well, if you don't log in, hey, it's
right.
not my bad.
That's on you.
I want you to get the transformation. Like
Right.
I did this so you could engage and get the transformation. But then
Hmm.
I just had to realize, when you're talking to a certain type of business owner that at a certain level, there's just some things that they don't care to do.
Right.
They
And
don't
not gonna
want to.
do. Don't have
That's it.
time to do.
I probably would have had better success setting up a Slack channel and saying, hey, when you
Yep.
have questions, post here.
Right.
It
Yep.
probably would have been much more effective. So,
Because
and
it's
that's if we take
quick
email off. Yeah,
notification.
quick.
That's it. Like a
It's so,
text message.
it's exactly it's on my phone. I can, be
Yep.
out and about and still, send a
Nothing
message
new
off
they
here
have
and
to
there.
learn. Nothing. And that's the thing I'm finding. Business owners don't want something new, technical. They have to learn
Mm,
just to engage with you. So.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, Samantha, this has been great. As we're talking, more software comes to mind, and I
Yeah.
know I can't keep spitting it off,
Go
but
another hour.
right, but there was one Steve, he's a community member, Click, KLEQ. I've got no
Mhm.
experience with it, but when I checked it out, there are a few, I think like I forget his name. He's in overseas. James Shrimpko. I think he's like the main
Okay.
promoter of it. So it's all in one membership software that they probably added community. So
Mm-hmm.
as you all are looking, think about this. Is it community first software with membership capabilities, or
Mm-hmm.
is it membership first software with community capabilities? At
Mm-hmm.
least thinking about it that way should help you in your decision making,
Right.
especially if you know and you're intentional about building either membership or community. That's going to help you
Right.
navigate that. So,
Yeah.
Samantha, they've listened. And what if they're like, okay, I get it, but I still need help? I still
Yeah.
don't feel comfortable or confident doing this myself. Who's there to help me navigate this technological terrain? Where can people get in touch with you, find out more, and potentially leverage you for that type of need?
Well, you can find me on my website, of course, my home base, organizingguru.com. I can help you strategize and pick the right technology for you based on your goals, your business goals, and set it up for you so you don't have to touch the
Yes.
tech or
Oh
learn the
my
tech.
goodness. Don't touch it. Don't touch the tech, man.
Don't touch it.
Yep. Yep. So we'll
And
have. Oh,
all
go
over
ahead.
social media. So let's see, SP Automate, Sam Automate. Yeah, you can find me online, but organizingguru.com is the best place to find all my information. Get on a call with me and let's just talk.
Great, great. So that's in the show notes, everyone, organizingguru.com. And we'll have her social profiles in there as well so you can connect with Samantha. Samantha, always thank you for coming on. This is like
Yeah.
my second or third time this week seeing you. So, again, I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled, everybody. These are the type of conversation in the brains that I have access to. So thank you, Samantha.
Thank you.
To all of my listeners, thank you for your listenership. This is a new word that we've created on the podcast, listenership. I'm going to look it up. It may already be in existence. It doesn't matter. It's a word that I love using, but thank you for your listenership and your time. Hopefully something was said today that helps you move your business forward that much more today and tomorrow. And to everybody, all of my community and listeners holistically, continue to automate responsibly, my friends.